My name is Lu Yu, a married young woman. Due to my husband is always out of town running a car, I have not had a conjugal life for half a year. Not only is it hard to scratch and claw every day, but even my body has problems. My breasts are so swollen and painful that I can't even wear underwear. The doctor said that in addition to medication, but also must be properly massaged for a few days, but how can that kind of private parts can be casually touched, in case there is trouble in the future how to do? I found my best friend to complain, but she did not think so. It's okay, I know a Chinese massage parlor, privacy is particularly strong, to go to the guests are wearing masks, registered names are aliases, no one can recognize. That won't work either. Although it is in order to cure the disease, but behind my husband's back to let other men touch their own piece. I still diaphragm in my heart. Fortunately, my husband suddenly sent a message saying that in a few days he would be able to stay overnight when he passed by home, and I wanted him to take advantage of the opportunity to stay some more days, and in the meantime, help me to massage and massage. But hubby wouldn't do it. No, can only stay one day, besides I'm not a professional to give you cannot press, you go out and find a massage parlor. Feeling my husband's casual attitude, I was a little angry. Why are you so generous, letting other men rub your wife's breasts? Hubby sighed. Look, what are you talking about? This is for healing, serious business, that can be the same. Besides, you can think about it, I just come back for one day, your chest is not cured is not a delay. Yes. These 6 months, I can only rely on cold toys night after night to stay up. If I can no longer make out with my husband, I'm really afraid that I cannot help but cheat. Thinking about it, I began to be tempted, but I was afraid that my husband was just testing me when he said that. But his tone was so sure, there was no hint of reluctance. Wife, just go without worry, I'm heartbroken that you're not feeling well, don't need to have a psychological burden, it's all about healing. With my husband's support, I gritted my teeth, which made up my mind to try. But looking at the shabby look of the facade, I was a little hesitant. Are you sure it won't be a problem? My girlfriend winked at me mysteriously. Don't worry, don't look at it broken, inside the teacher's skill can be great, I've been there many times, safe for you to get comfortable. Yes, I've come here anyway, it doesn't matter if I try it. After going in, a man in a white coat was organizing things with his back to us. BFF greeted him familiarly. Master Sun, I brought my sister over today, her breasts are swollen and painful, I'll trouble you to give her a good circulation later. Good, you guys lie down first, I'll be right there. Upon hearing this, my best friend pulled me along and started to undress without saying a word. Seeing that my best friend had already laid down, I glanced at the man who was still busy with a red face, and could only hurry to also undress and lie down side by side with my best friend. In my mind, I keep telling myself that everything is for the treatment, nothing to be ashamed of. But when the man turned around, my whole body was dumbfounded. Isn't this my father-in-law Sun Lei? My mother-in-law was complaining to me some time ago, saying that my father-in-law left the family's cows unattended, and after going into the city alone, he said he wouldn't come back, and the family didn't even know exactly where he was. I didn't realize that my father-in-law had opened a Chinese medicine massage parlor here. I shyly picked up the halter dress to cover the body, the sound of eunuchs stuck in the throat. I can't call out and can't swallow. If now show identity is too embarrassing. How can I face my husband's family in the future? No, I have to leave quickly. My chest is stuffy, I won't massage it today, I'll come back some other day. Saying that, I was about to sit up. But was hard stopped by my girlfriend. Don't said good today it, and then late, your husband back when you can't be good, besides, you are not comfortable just let Master Sun give you a look, he is very good at adjusting our woman's body. No way, I wanted to explain to my girlfriends but I didn't know what to say, all of a sudden my ears started to redden as I held my breath. Don't worry, I'll take your pulse, come on, lie down first. I was wearing a mask, the eunuch obviously didn't recognize me, directly smiled and brought a pulse pillow. Seeing this, I can only lie down first and stretch out my wrist, looking at the eunuch's serious appearance of the pulse, I muttered. Strange, eunuch when will Chinese medicine? It's okay girl, these symptoms are caused by endocrine disorders, is it a long time to not make out with your husband? I can't imagine that it was really accurate by the eunuch. Seeing me nod my head, the eunuch stroked his beard and laughed lightly. Don't worry, I'll just give you a good massage, take off your clothes. Hearing this, I shyly shook my head frantically, and was trying to find some excuse to leave, but my girlfriend's friend, this little hoof, was quick on her feet and actually directly jerked the skirt I was tugging at away. The girl's body is really good, your husband is really not aware of his blessings, just like my son, he is still not satisfied with such a beautiful daughter-in-law. What does this mean? Is it hard to believe that my husband has someone outside? I stiffened, my brain in a daze. My father-in-law isn't the type to spread gossip. Since he said that, it proves that there's probably something really wrong with my husband. It's also true that I can't stand it as a woman, let alone my husband, a man in his prime. I can still use toys when I'm lonely, but what about my husband who's out running a car? Eunuch perennial farm work in the countryside, hands with a thick layer of calluses, very cut skin, with an indescribable tingling sensation, is a kind of wild roughness that I have never experienced. And as the hardness disappeared, my entire senses began to feel comfortable. At this moment, I also finally realized what I was doing, and hurriedly struggled up as hard as I could. Stop it now. I'm not pressing any more. I pushed my father-in-law away, and my girlfriend on the side, confused by my movements, rolled her eyes at me in displeasure. What are you doing? I'll do it if you don't come. Master Sun, quickly come and help me press, my body is suffering. Girlfriend is a small wave hoof, obviously is also 27 or 18 years old age, said nothing to get married, everywhere seducing different men. Although his father-in-law is a little old, but his body is strong and vigorous. Look at this situation, she is obviously the male as the next target of the strategy. I looked at my girlfriend's intoxicated tongue, the heart of a burst of fire, along with the belly began to vaguely pain, I did not hold back, directly shouted out the heart. Massage on massage, you put out that kind of look to whom? You ate gunpowder, I kindly brought you here, what evil fire with me? Girlfriend originally temperament is explosive, this completely pulled the face, without saying anything, raised his hand to dislike me, coincidentally just poked me in the abdomen. At once, the unbearable pain spread out at once, more violent than the swelling pain on my chest just now. I curled up my body, my lips instantly pale. My girlfriend was dumbfounded. Xiaoyu, what happened to you? Don't scare me, Master Sun, take a look at her. Without delay, the eunuch hurriedly examined me, but the look on his face grew more and more serious. Oh, not good, she's too serious here, just passing the top is treating the symptoms but not the root cause. We need to pass the meridians underneath her to make it work, quick, you help me hold her down. Seeing this, my best friend rushed around behind me and then deadened my thighs to support me, while my father-in-law coated his tanned hands with essential oils and lifted the hem of my skirt. Dad, I'm your daughter-in-law, Lu Yu. In the heat of the moment, I still didn't hold back from identifying myself, no matter what, I couldn't let my own father-in-law see such a private part of myself. Hearing my shout, eunuch first froze for a moment, then quickly peeled off the mask on my face. Yikes! Little Jade, it's really you. I originally thought that after recognizing me, the eunuch would give up on the idea of giving me a meridian, but I never expected that the eunuch would frown in a serious manner, and the movements of his hands did not stop. Xiaoyu, bear with me for a bit, the current situation is very dangerous, I have to give you a good passage before I can do so. The best friend also chimed in from the side. Yeah, it's not good if something happens here. Ring ring ring. A short, piercing ringtone rang, instantly breaking the tense atmosphere. I took my cell phone. Surprisingly, it was a video call from my husband. And Gong Gong obviously also saw, like a vein immediately put down his hands and stood to the side. I swallowed my saliva, signaling my girlfriend to put the clothes back on, and then apprehensively pressed the connect button. The husband on the other side of the screen has been waiting a little impatient. What's taking so long? I'm not, breasts are not too comfortable, and my girlfriends came over for a massage, the phone was put in my pocket, so I was slow to pick up. Hubby paused, his face became indescribably ugly. You really went to massage, the masseur is a man? I glanced at my father-in-law, who was cowering in the corner, and subconsciously panicked. Not a male, you. Before I could finish explaining, the intense abdominal pain came back with a vengeance, and suddenly, I didn't even have the strength to speak, and directly blacked out and fainted. Wake up again, is in the hospital room. Looking at the bed in front of my husband alone, I feel a lot lighter in my heart. It seems that my husband should not know that the master is my father-in-law. Seeing me wake up, my husband worriedly held my hand. Wife, you woke up. How do you feel, does it still hurt? I shook my head and spoke tentatively. It doesn't hurt anymore, by the way, where's my best friend? At that, my husband grunted lightly, a little dissatisfied. Still say it, you take her as a bosom friend, she didn't take you as a sister. When I went over, people are still in the cubicle to let the masseuse give her a massage, and froze without even showing her face. Tell me, what kind of friends are you making? I have made a real good sister. Good thing the girlfriends are on the right track, otherwise if my husband found out that my father-in-law is here, the consequences would have been unimaginable. However, when I came home with my husband, I found my father-in-law waiting at the door, and as soon as he saw us, he was talking loudly. The general idea was that he hadn't been home because he had been cheated, and now he didn't dare go back to let my mother-in-law know, so he stayed with us for a while first. Seeing my father-in-law's tearful speech, I couldn't help but be impressed by him again. I didn't realize that my father-in-law not only knows Chinese massage, but also has such a talent for acting. If I didn't know the facts beforehand, I would really believe the same as my husband. Xiaoyu looks not so good, what's wrong? On the sofa, my father-in-law looked at me with a worried face, as if he was really a kind elder. Hubby waved his hand. It's okay, have been to the hospital, the doctor said a few more days of rest and conditioning will be fine. Upon hearing this, my father-in-law nodded his head thoughtfully and repeatedly. That's good, that's good. Because my in-laws only have one child, my husband, so their family has a very deep bond, although my father-in-law's actions at the massage parlor were very improper, and he also hid it from my husband and mother-in-law. But as a daughter-in-law, I can't say anything more. So as long as my father-in-law no longer mentioned that matter, I am planning to rot in the stomach for life. After 2 days of this, my father-in-law couldn't sit still, and while my husband went out to buy groceries, he came in front of me with a smile on his face. Xiao, that. I have something I want to tell you, it's the massage parlor thing, I have to explain to you to explain, it's that at that time, I was seeing that you were in too much pain before. You do not take it to heart, and my massage thing you must not tell your mother-in-law, mainly this countryside women do not see the knowledge. I am also afraid that she thinks too much. After the eunuch finished, has been uneasy rubbing hands, a cautious look. In fact, I don't believe my father-in-law's explanation at all. Even if it's for my sake, but after all, there is this layer of relationship in the place of any normal old man, would not do such a thing to his daughter-in-law. Unless. I glanced at my father-in-law, who was tall and had three-dimensional features. A bold guess couldn't help but surface in my heart. Although my father-in-law in the countryside is to do rough work, but is also considered half-cultural people, at first because of the offense this is to choose to live in the countryside. Otherwise, with his handsome looks, how could he have married a rural woman as tough as his mother-in-law? Can it be that now that the years are long, the father-in-law not only to the mother-in-law had second thoughts, but also to the young and beautiful me to start a normal man's thoughts? My heart immediately beat half a beat faster, but on my face I pretended not to care and smiled. It's okay, father-in-law, I understand everything, just don't worry, I won't say anything more. Anyway, now the husband is still at home, the eunuch even if there is something in his mind, but he does not dare to do anything, not to mention that with this file in front of me, I guess the eunuch can't wait to be far away from me. As long as nothing happens in the future, it will be fine. But I still underestimated the desire of a normal man. That night, I was no longer uncomfortable, the doctor said, the state can be coitus. I was already itchy, after the past few days of tossing and turning, my belly is more like a nameless fire, like at least heart and lungs, underwear have to be changed 2 times a day to be able to do. Good thing, tonight I can finally enjoy the happy taste of being a woman. The time has come. I was about to go out, but coldly looked at the bathroom door, did not know when to open a crack, and there is a shadow moving. When I returned to the bedroom, I found my husband leaning on the head of the bed and concentrating on swiping a short video, so much so that he didn't respond until I called out to him several times. "Honey, are you done washing?" "My wife, I'm not feeling well today, my head hurts a bit." "Forget it." "Forget it? But weren't you the one who just monkeyed around and peeked?" I was confused. Heartache and aggression cannot stop a strong upward surge. I carefully prepared for so long is not looking forward to now, the result. I want to cry, and directly shut himself into the bathroom, stayed for a while to slowly let himself calm down. But why did my husband's attitude change so quickly? The only person left in this house besides my husband is my father-in-law. So, the person who just stood at the door peeping at me was actually the father-in-law. It seems that my previous guess was right. Hubby is in the house now, he dares to do this kind of thing, then when hubby leaves in a few days, then I will be in danger. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I want the family to be able to live in peace and harmony, not that I, Lu Yu, am easy to bully. But my father-in-law has really gone too far. Thinking about it, I still couldn't hold back and directly knocked on the door of my father-in-law's room. Seeing that it was me, my father-in-law obviously froze for a moment. "Xiao Yu, what's the matter so late?" "Dad, you should give me an explanation, right? Otherwise I'll call your son out and see what you say then." "I Xiao Yu, we are all family, how about this? Dad promises not to peep at you anymore, let's forget about this, otherwise if you let my son know, he might still think that you seduced me, right?" The eunuch finished with a smile on his face, and my whole body was bad when I heard it. The factual evidence was in front of us, he obviously couldn't find any excuse, so he simply admitted it, and threatened me with my husband's and my feelings. "You." I was angry and pointed at my father-in-law, unable to speak at once. In the next second, my husband's voice rang from the side. "What are you guys doing? Honey, why don't you look too good?" I gritted my teeth, glanced at the eunuch who was pleasantly pleased with himself, still gave up my intention to sue, and could only pull the corner of my mouth to smile. "Nothing much, it's not that I haven't seen Dad for a long time, ask him what he wants to eat, so I can go grocery shopping tomorrow." Well, these things don't need you to worry about, quickly get a good night's sleep." Hubby grinned broadly and hugged me back to my room, but I gradually had a plan to fight back in my heart. Since the openly cannot come, then I will find a way to let the eunuch himself in front of the crowd in the original form. The next day, I got up early and asked my girlfriend out. As soon as we met, my girlfriend started poking fun at me out of tune. "Yo, the sun came out of the west, huh? Didn't you say you could have intercourse last night? Today actually so early to call me up, not more sleep?" I glared at her without a good look. "Stop it, my husband didn't even touch me last night." My girlfriend's eyes widened in surprise. "What happened?" I told the events of last night one by one, including the words that my father-in-law had apologized to me earlier. After hearing this, BFF shook her head incredulously. "I didn't expect that your eunuch is actually such a person, thanks to the fact that I went around praising him for his good craftsmanship before. Knowing the face of a man is not knowing his heart. In the past, I also thought that my father-in-law was a good person and hadn't neglected me as a daughter-in-law, but who would have thought that he was an old sex fiend? For this kind of person, I absolutely can't be merciful." I sneered and told my girlfriend about my plan and asked for her help. On the other hand, I secretly contacted my mother-in-law, in order to prevent any bad influence I would have in the open. I did not tell my mother-in-law that my father-in-law did bad things to me, nor did I say that my father-in-law opened the Chinese medicine massage parlor, but I told my mother-in-law that I had a friend who had seen my father-in-law in the vicinity of the massage parlor. My mother-in-law is an acute person who is quick to criticize. As soon as I heard the news of my father-in-law, I immediately had to go into the city to take a look. When I came home after finishing my errands, I happened to bump into my father-in-law in the spring to organize his clothes. I smiled. "Dad, are you going out? It can't be that you have to go back to your massage parlor." Being told off by me, the eunuch licked his lips and stammered. No, I'm just going out to run some errands." "Go ahead, this should be your last visit to the massage parlor." I smiled slightly and looked at my phone to calculate the time before heading out to meet up with my girlfriends. Inside the car. Well. The BFF in the driver's seat winked at me. Don't worry, everything is arranged. Because my bestie is a regular customer of my father-in-law, I let my bestie pretend that she needed a massage to ask my father-in-law out, while my bestie put out the news that my father-in-law was open for business to the other regular customers. When my mother-in-law rushed over, she was able to see her father-in-law at work. You did, old man, you dared to cheat here behind my back. Not long after, the mother-in-law's voice came out from the pavilion, followed by the father-in-law panicked and ran out, but did not walk a few steps by the mother-in-law chased up. The mother-in-law's strength, hand don't know where to get the stick straight to the back of the father-in-law wheel. The father-in-law did not have the opportunity to fight back. Wrong, what's wrong? Let's talk about it at home, it's embarrassing. You also know shame, you old immodest, old lady must kill you today. Seeing this, her best friend snorted out a laugh. Xiaoyu, I didn't expect this mother-in-law of yours to be so tough, now he's going to suffer. Looking at my father-in-law's wretched appearance, I raised my eyebrows in triumph. That's true, otherwise I couldn't have done this. Although telling the truth about the eunuch's fate would have been worse, but then my husband and I's relationship would definitely suffer, and I wouldn't take the risk even if it was in defense of my marriage. Now that my mother-in-law knows about my father-in-law, she will definitely keep an eye on him, so I have nothing to worry about. My girlfriend nodded her head, and then frowned. But don't be afraid of the unexpected, and your husband is away from home for a long time, that's. I smiled slightly. Don't worry, I've already decided that I'll be a young lady follower in the future, so that I can be by my husband's side all the time, and our feelings as a couple won't get rusty. Although I've heard many people say that a young woman who follows a car, especially a woman with a good-looking body like me, will be harassed by many different men. But I'm not afraid because I have my husband and I believe he will always protect me.